Hey, um, thank you everybody for joining. Yeah, this is part 4 of the summer project series. Last week we looked at correctly the API stuff. Um, and this week we are going to be looking at building the React and like the front end sort of thing and calling that API and getting some data. And if we have time, then setting up the Nginx stuff. That way you'll just have one address that points to everything. Yeah, with that, we can get started. The first thing I need to mention is I just added these two things into our engine.py. One of those things is the poster path. So with the movie database that we talked about last week, we were able to actually query and get basically like a photo or the poster of the movie. And we do this via this image.tmdb.org, blah, 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 poster path. And we can actually also get the link to the movie database as well. The movie database, that movie, so basically like an IMDb listing, same sort of thing, just by using the ID. And we want our backend to sort of manage all that and be able to push that through so that we can use that for the React stuff. Yeah, so I made that change off Zoom here accidentally. That was purely by accident. Yeah. So let me go ahead and I'm just going to close all of this. And so one thing too, we can also just start our React app right outside. Yeah, this won't work. And a start. That way we can just do it, sort of create it nice and locally. Now I for sure know I definitely have this open somewhere else. Okay, just give me 1 second there. Okay, awesome. Sorry about that. What it was my still had some Docker things running that were using the port. Yeah. So to go to localhost. Hi, you've joined. Thank you for joining. It was just me. So I can get you up to speed as well too. So the only thing that I've done is added this stuff here into the engine, and that's just to grab the poster path and the URL from IMDb or TMDB, just so we can have some things that we can like play with. I'll throw this in the chat, and then you should be able to just copy, paste that, and this should work. Yeah. And then with that, I honestly just started my React app using npm start. cd. Something like that. Oh, you're going to make it using Angular? Yeah, that also works. That also works too. Yeah. Yeah, the React stuff is pretty quick, honestly. Yeah, and then hoping to get the Nginx stuff. I do have to run right at 8-ish. So hopefully we can fit everything in. I might go a little bit quickly, but I'm sure that you should be okay. Awesome. So have a React open. I don't have a Docker container for the back end, but we can do that. if we go to the back end and we want to CD backend, we want to say Docker HT. This big backend was also working, right? Yes. Yeah. So everything was working in terms of being able to like API call. Now we're just like building a front end to call that API, basically. So I'm just going to get my backend up and running. I have to build it first because I deleted it. Front is built. Our backend is built. We don't have a front end yet. Oh, yes. Yep. Yep, is compiled. And I didn't compile it in the Docker container. I compiled it on my host machine. That way we can see the changes live. If we did it in the Docker container, we'd have to rebuild and then restart. And it's a little annoying. So I'm just sort of developing in this. And then when we like push it um, or run the whole system, it'll be in the Docker container there. So whilst that is building, okay. While that is building, we can look at our app.js here. And if you're not familiar with the React, it's a like JavaScript framework that allows for like much faster compilation and like dynamic rendering in a sense. So what it does is it builds these like tree structures of elements. And if an element changes, it only has to change um, that portion of the tree and below. So for example, if you had like three divs, first, second, and third, and you change something in like you have a button in like the third that changes a counter or something like that, only that third div needs to be re-rendered. And it keeps the whole web page still like almost like statically there. So it's really good at not having to load and like generate new or like recall the page like a bunch of times, sort of like the MVC pattern, right? To like edit something, you'll have to call the page once and then post it again and all this other stuff. React is nice and easy. Yeah, is reactive, exactly. React is nice and easy to build with as well. It is there's a lot of good documentation. There's a lot of good packages and stuff. I really like using it. So yeah, we're going to be using that. In our app.js is where where sort of the system, do I think it's better than Angular? I haven't used Angular that much, but I know React is a little lighter and quicker than Angular stuff. But I think Angular just got like a big version change or something like that. Yeah, exactly. And so I think they added a lot more things. Yeah, I am not an Angular person now. I just find React very like I know HTML. I can read this very easily. And so this just feels like a step above like knowing the HTML and CSS and JavaScript and that sort of thing. Yeah, I have only touched Angular once, and that was for like 10 minutes. React, assuming also has more jobs because it seems more in demand. Especially like I was looking at React Native as well, which is really cool. And it is, I don't know, just the whole idea and things around React seem very like lightweight and not having to put that much framework sort of bloatware in. Uh, yeah. So I know Flutter. I I've tried Flutter like 3 or 4 times. I really am not enjoying it as much as React Native. Even though I haven't really played with React Native that much, but Flutter is just such a steep learning curve, I think, that it's not very like, I don't know, I need someone to teach it to me instead of me looking it up myself, that sort of thing. Yeah. I was gonna do this in Flutter, but thought React might be more fun and more like people might be interested in it a little bit more. And we have a lot of Flutter stuff already. So, yeah. Okay, I'm going to continue with this. Just to break this down a little bit, index is where your web page gets loaded to begin with, right? That's like the root sort of frame. And then our app.js is basically where we start adding our functionality and everything. And so in this case, we don't have a lot happening. We'll have an h1 tag, and we'll just call this movie recommendation or whatever you want in there. You can also add more things like click this button or something like that, or do this sort of steps or whatever. But we'll have a search box. Search box. Okay, and that will be its own sort of component, its own element that will make a new file. And this is sort of where like the power of React is. You can abstract pieces of your website into elements, and it makes it nice and clean. And that's again what makes that tree structure, that like reactive or dynamic sort of layout. And we'll also have a movie list. Movie list, awesome. Cool. Now, did you create the component yet? No, I have not. We will right now. We'll build the files here. So we need a couple of files. We need a movie list.js. We'll also need a search box.js. We'll need a movie card. Movie card.js. And that should be it. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out the best way to talk about this. So in our app, we have a movie list. We'll have a list of movies, right, which we recommend from. And so with React, we can, or like I guess with JavaScript too, we can just make that list and start having that list because we want the parent to sort of know about it, because our search and our movie list need to communicate with each other. You could definitely do it like there might be a way for you to do it nicely from search to movie list, but we're just going to use our parent, which is app, for search box to get the movies, and then the movies will be passed into movie list. That's sort of a way to look at it. And so we'll have movies and set movies is equal to use state. Now, I get a little bit confused with the difference of like use state and use effect and all this other stuff, but these are React functions that are able to assist with like when to render items. Did you mean const? I did mean const, thank you. We need to import React, use state from React. We'll also need to import search box from, I'm not going to use components. Search box. Yep. And movie list. I spelled movie list wrong. List. The use state is not defined. Also, we don't need this local thing in here too. I'm gonna leave this for now because I'm not exactly sure what this error means, but I think we just need the other code. So with React, our array will be called set movies or movies, and we'll have this function that says like set movies, meaning we can pass things in and like data in, and that will set our movies array. A little confusing about how this all works on the back end of things. I'm not even too sure, but at least in React sense, movies and set movies can be relatively easy to understand with their naming scheme there. And we'll also need a function here that will set the movies when a search happens here. Set movies. We don't want this to be E. So this did not turn out the way that I wanted it to. Okay, yeah. So we built the function to search movies. We'll take in a parameter called data. We're going to set movies to that data. Easy enough. Now, how do we get this search box to be able to like use a function outside of the scope of the search box, right? Because this lives in app.js. We need search box to be able to like call that function basically. And we can just pass that in. We can build or like name a sort of like function on search and equal that to, we can pass in that search movies as if it was a variable, which is really cool. Now for movie lists, we need some way to say, okay, here's all the movies that I should be listing here. So we can basically just do the same thing, say movies is equal to movies. Now let's string for built-in. Oh, it's this. It's not this. Not too sure again what this error is for. Oh, I think it's just asking for this stuff here. Yeah, we can start on our search here. I'm going to import React again and the use state. Use state. Okay, we'll have a function search box. Also have an export. So this is kind of a rough template of what a new React file looks like. You have your imports at the top. You need the function of, and this is where all the like HTML code and your functions and parameters or properties and attributes and stuff will go. And we also need to export this function, this like element with all this code and stuff in it. We do that by saying export default search box. That way, in app, we're able to use the object search box down here. Not the best way to explain it, but it's all like very object centric here. So we'll need a search text thing as well. And we're also going to, just like a function in any other language, we need to have parameters on both sides. We have on search is equal to or data or search movies. And in here, we need to specify on search as well. Okay, we need to const handle search this guy. All this async stuff as well too just does things in different threads. At least I'm pretty sure, and that's all handled and managed by a browser. You don't have to worry too much about that stuff. Const. Okay, yeah, a lot of stuff happened here. So we're trying to get a response from our localhost 5000 movies search text. And this should, in theory, go to our backend here, which I'm going to bring up. Docker run -it port. I think that this is on 5000 backend v1. Good. Yeah, recommendation. Recommendation. To Garfield. Awesome. Okay. So I just want to make sure that that was our API route. I apologize for going fast as well too. So this fetch will go and call this API route with our search text, wait for a response in a separate thread, and then we're able to parse out the JSON into data, and then say on search, take this data, pass it up to app. App will set this information to the movies, and then the movies will be passed into the movie list. That's how the flow sort of works there. Now, we need to build our HTML here. So we'll just say div, and really the only thing we need in here is an input for search box, and maybe a button that says click. And just so we can have some style stuff, search box. So I'm just going to copy this. Actually, this is also a movie card. All I have to do. There we go. Now we're able to see it. Okay, yeah. Search. You can add some other things in here, like a placeholder if you would like to. Enter a movie. Yeah, and it should show up on the other side as well. Onto the movie list, which we won't be able to see. In here, we will also be taking in movies. I'm going to be importing React from React. Importing movie card from movie card. And eventually there'll be like styles and stuff too. Now in here, we don't really need a whole. We'll have a condition. It says if the array is array if there's nothing in their array, we're going to say no movies found. I think that's fair. Or you can have whatever you want. You can display nothing as well. However, if there is stuff in it, we want to make a movie list, have our movies iterate through, take our movies array, sorry, we're going to map that to movie. So this is essentially a little for loop that will say, okay, for the first movie, we're gonna map that object to something called movie now, and then for each movie, we will be passing it into movie card. So this is just basically making like a table or a list of individual movies. In our case, it's called movie card. And that's what makes up the movie list. Might seem a little abstracted for no reason, but this is so you're able to make other functions and stuff separate from the two. And it's kind of like good practice to have like kind of small files here with React. And again, going back to that like dynamic tree, if everything was in here, when there's changes that are made, you want the smallest amount to be affected. And if you're abstracting things like this, then you're able to say like, if you have 5 files instead of 2, you can, and you're trying to update the bottom one, you can just update one rather than everything there. If you had 2, you'd be replacing half of the information or half of the text that's on the screen. Hope that makes sense. Awesome. With movie card, again, we're going to import React from React. That's about it. We'll have a function, movie card takes in a movie, and nicely enough, this will look a lot different. We're going to swap out this div for an anchor tag instead, and we'll href that to movie.url. And we can remember that from our engine URL, right? We'll also have the movie title. Change this to H2. Probably definitely easier just to not have this generated for me here. I'm just going to make the rest P's here for paragraphs. Okay, so we have a movie title. We do have a movie image as well, and that's called poster_path. Okay, we have a release date. P. Release date. We have a popularity as well. We don't have a year. We have a vote average. Genres either. We have vote count. And there's a lot of other columns too that you can pull from the engine to just have more data. Awesome. So we have an anchor tag so that surrounds everything. It'll have the title, the poster path, release date, popularity, vote count, voting average, all that stuff. That's all in one card. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Cool. Now we are technically done. Let's see if I search this. No movies found. Whoa, but a lot of errors here. Let me refresh the page. No movies found. Let's see. Let's fetch. Okay, so we are getting. I'm using the debugger tools to see if our browser is even calling the API. We can see it here. We know it's returning stuff. I can see it right in here. But I believe I probably just missed something, honestly. Whether turned here. Save it quick. Mhm. I think not console log things here. I guess not. Okay. Honestly think it could be this ID here. Maybe it's data.movies. Ooh, that actually might be a good catch there. Search box. Ah, yep. See, I see, I see. Nice. Awesome. Thank you so much for catching that. Yeah, and it was just because our JSON was one abstraction away, basically. Yeah, this is pretty much it, honestly. Because now, really the only thing that's like left is styling this stuff. Um, Now I already have stuff styled. Styles.css. Because I think that's like a good sort of like homeworky thing to like play around with. Let me quick. And I can also pass this on else here too. So really all I did was make the cards have more of like an actual card sort of look. And then well, another big aspect is the image got cropped as well to like a more appropriate size. And then if you're using Flexbox or Flex, it will sort of dynamically adjust to the screen size here too. Yeah, Spider-Man. Awesome. And we know that there isn't technically a movie called Spider-Man. So all that stuff is working in terms of searching TMDB for an actual title to movies and stuff too. Awesome. I'm gonna post all of this. I'm gonna post bits and pieces of this if you would like to use it. Feel free, but also feel free to like make it your own. I'm kind of leaving this part because this is a way for anybody that's watching this or anybody that's here to like uh, make it your own and make it look nice and fancy and however you want, or adding text however you want. We don't know what these numbers mean, so it might be good to have like popularity and vote count and all that stuff. Yeah. We can also see if the anchor tag works as well, which it does. It took us to TeamDB. Yeah, awesome. Very happy that that worked, and I hope that you're catching all this. I know that there's a lot going on. Awesome. So, um, there is a bit of a flaw here. If you're trying to, if you just like push this out right now, it wouldn't work. Um, and even if you added all the implementation of like cloud and that sort of thing, it wouldn't work. And that's mainly because of this guy right here. If I were to pass this to like anybody here, I it would when you have like local host in JavaScript or in HTML or anything, it will actually look at your uh, computer, right? Your local host, not anybody else's. And so we need a way for like even if I did it on my phone on the same network, it'd be looking at my phone's local host. So we need a way to say uh, redirect or go to like this API or even having like whatever Docker's like IP addresses of the Docker container. That would also work too. But in the grand scheme of things too, and hopefully this sort of works out, is we want to have a address like recommend me movies or something like that. And if we know it has API in the route, or if it doesn't, it's going to redirect to one of the two Docker containers. If that makes sense. This is called a reverse proxy. Is because we're taking like one incoming stream, checking it against some conditions, and then pushing it to either the front or the back end, depending on like what those conditions are. We can do that. I'm gonna give you a bit of a warning because I was doing this the other day, just like practicing for this, and got me a little bit frustrated because I didn't really have it all together. So hopefully I do now. Um, awesome. Okay. So I'm going to close this stuff. And so this is for the Nginx stuff. Um, we need to make a new folder and we'll just call that proxy. And in this proxy, we'll have a file. We'll have a Docker file. We'll also have a um, what are they called? Proxy dot conf, and that's configuration file. So in the Docker file, Docker has a Nginx image, which is great for us. Nginx latest. We're going to run some Nginx like templated stuff. This gets rid of the default Nginx config stuff, and we're going to copy ours. Copy proxy.config. We need to expose port 80, which is the default port for like web traffic to a server. And then we are going to say run the Nginx server. That's our Docker file. For Nginx, it's nice and easy to like set up a reverse proxy. All we really have to do is just say server, which defines like what this is. I think that this could be any name that you make it. I'm going to listen on port 80. Server name, I'm going to say is localhost. Now this, your server name localhost would be like if you have a domain or something, recommendmemovies.com or movie recommender or whatever, that's what would go in there. And now we just need to define our routes. We'll have a location stuff. So the single backslash with nothing there should go to our front end here. So we're going to say proxy pass is not localhost. This will actually be your computer. Sorry, will be your computer's address. And that's because all of our stuff is running off of our computer, off of like the Docker container and stuff. So if we're using our phone or someone else's laptop on your network, it needs to point not to its local host, not to some Docker container that it doesn't know of. It needs to point to our server, our computer, which will then point, because of the ports and stuff, it will then point to the Docker containers. We need to add another location for our API. And this should be the same thing, 192.168.1.69. And this will be 5,000 for our API. Cool. And I think we just started missing this. Awesome. That is that. Now, we just need to add it to our Docker Compose as well. Proxy. Compose. This should be able to give me it. Build proxy. We're mapping our proxy folder to user source app, making sure our ports 8080 are mapped as well. And we're just going to say it depends on the stuff. So now when we go to our search box, don't even have to add this port. We should be able just to say 192.168.1.69. Or if you push this up into the cloud and stuff, it would be like your domain name. So like HTTPS, recommend me movies, API recommendation, that sort of thing. You shouldn't have to put the ports or anything. This should all just work, hopefully. So Docker compose build flag. Is it I get these mixed up. Hash dash build. See, do you not know what that means? Build. Actually, looking at these guys here. Hmm. Any ideas? No, nothing about Docker. Yeah, that's okay. Failed to read Docker file. Can't read this Docker file for some reason. No such file and directory. See it right here though. Oh, yeah, no, I see it. I see it right here. Hmm. No, I don't think that this has. Okay, it is not Docker capital F file. It is just Docker file. Little mistake. So what we hope to be able to say is when we go to localhost, we should be able to just have this whole website be there and be able to call the recommendation stuff. And then even if we go on our phone or like something else, we should still have all that functionality there too. Might take a minute or two. Now, I don't think that that means that it's running because I didn't say Docker build. Just say Docker compose up. It is a thing. Hmm. Hey, you think you see if we can get to this. Get to this. It's fine. Yeah, and this is what I meant by sometimes I just feel like I understand this stuff and then apparently I do not. think that has anything to do with it. Copy this guy from my test testing thing. Try. Nice. Okay. So it could have been the HTTPS that it was trying to use when it's actually just HTTP. Um, HTTPS needs a signed certificate, which we might not get into. That might be like next week thing or something. Yeah. See if we can get this, which we still can, which is very nice. Yeah, this is pretty much it. This is like the whole project pretty much done now. Yeah. Is there any questions or anything you're stuck on or anything like that? I know I kind of went very fast. Yeah, no problem. Now, I know we said that we might do like push it into the cloud somehow with like DigitalOcean or something like that. Um, are you interested in that? Yeah, yeah, that's no worries. We I think you were a little late on a lot of the React stuff, which is perfectly fine. Yeah, you can always like watch this video later on. React, I highly suggest even just like doing a quick little like LinkedIn course or something like that to do it. I really like it. I'm actually using it at work right now too. So yeah. What exam? Um, and then also, I guess, Jamie, this question is pointed to you. Did you want to learn how to like push something into the cloud? It's not like it's hard. It's more annoying than anything else. And sorry, I gotta go now. Yeah, I also have to go. There's this link, and I definitely think that you should fill it out there, Jamie, when you get a chance, because I have a bunch of books and stuff, and you've been here every single day or every single time we've been doing this. So cool. Okay. Thank you. Is the recording today? Yeah, I'll send you the link there. Just give me a minute. GDSC. Still, yeah. You go to that link, it's like the last 3 videos. They're about an hour long or so. You can definitely just skim through them. A lot of it is just me rambling. So yeah. The this project is really cool. I don't know if you've heard of it, but we were using some machine learning with Python and building a like Flask API and then this React stuff all in like Docker containers and in efforts for it to be like something that you're able to put on your resume. Yeah, so if you like build it and sort of make it your own and that sort of thing, and then you're able to slap it on your resume, it's kind of like the goal. Yeah, yeah, no worries. We put everything online anyways. So you can always go back and like watch it, or like skim through and that sort of thing. There's also all of the code is on a repo as well. I can grab you that too. Speaking of that, I'm going to say part 4. Yeah, no worries. There's the link to the repo there. I'll fill this out a little bit more of like commands and stuff that you need to like run it and everything. I'll push that, and then the YouTube video should be up by like tomorrow or something too. Yeah, awesome. Okay, well, thank you for both of you. Oh, you're back. Okay, hi. um, yeah, thank you for both of you for coming. I highly appreciate it, even if it's just a drop-in sort of thing. Yeah, and Jamie, make sure you fill out that form so I can give you. I have cracking the coding interview, and I also have clean code and some stickers and stuff too. And since you've been here, I am definitely open to giving you that stuff. Um, yeah, how do I claim it? If you fill this guy out, I should be able to like send you an email or like a Discord message or something, and then should I also? Yeah, if you want to. It's kind of targeted towards like if you've done the project, but I was gonna like leave it open for a couple of days and stuff to see if other people want to also like join and uh like fill it out and make the product and stuff. Um, yeah, feel free to fill it out if you want to. Yeah, and then Jamie, uh, we can definitely talk about this more. Yeah, yeah, and even like using the repo as like a guide of like what you need to type and stuff. Um, the project I think is a lot of fun, and it's relatively it has small like bite-sized pieces of things everywhere. Like API stuff is very small. The machine learning stuff is also very small. The React stuff is very small. The Docker stuff is like medium sized, but it's also like very small bite-sized pieces um, that you can just like do. You know, we it only took us about like 4 hours to write everything. Mind you, that's 4 hours of me also knowing I have a second screen with uh, the working code, I guess, up, but still, like it's still like 4 hours based on user preferences. Yeah, like adding in more things like there's different types of recommendation systems, like things like, oh, your personality or like who you are closely matches this person who has watched this. I think that's how like Netflix sort of does their stuff. It's like, oh, you've watched this. Well, other people that have also watched this and watched all the things that you've liked, they've watched this. So we're going to recommend this to you. Yeah. And there's definitely a lot of room for this project to like grow into different things. Awesome. I do need to go. Um, Yes. There might be one more session too that like looks at getting a domain and pushing it into like DigitalOcean or like GCP or something like that. Um, Discord should be the code. Yes. Yes. You're like a number code now. I don't know anymore. This one? I think it's this. I think if you just copy this, I think it's that one. Yeah, it's just a little bit easier for me to communicate because a lot of people don't check their school emails. So awesome. Okay. Thank you.